to another world, the only thing that we are going to carry are our deeds. Could be good or bad deeds. And one of the deeds is knowing thyself, programming, reprogramming our spirit. When I say reprogramming, it doesn't mean like you are going to be like robots. Reprogramming is once we know ourselves, we want what is the best for our interest. But what is the best? It's something that will simply change after time, or something that are going to stay with us, being a real patrimony, a real asset in our soul. This is our object. That's why suffering, it's something that we have to know how to deal with. And we can take the best out of the trouble and the worst situation in life, building a better human being so we can overcome and trespass this frontier of suffering and finding joy, even in the struggles that we face nowadays. So, Joana de Angelis, there is tenacious struggle to conceal the reality, and when an unsuccessful neurotic crisis and escape through alcohol, drugs, or suicide may follow. In Spiritism, we learn that without moral values, which allows for men to resist temptation and strengthen them when faced with difficulties, they may continue to advance intellectually, conquering infinite knowledge regarding the sun and planets, yet they will continue to be unable to conquer themselves in the battle against all physical and moral vices. And that's true. Nowadays, we never seen so much technology serving humanity. We have every kind of privilege in terms of technology. We have iPhones, we have people going to Mars, not yet, but we have like so many technological, I'm gonna send somebody there one day. We see like so many technological advancement in nowadays, but we're still very empty. We still need something more. More we have in terms of material, physical stuff, things, more we are empty inside. And we see people with almost nothing, with a big smile in their face. Genuine face, genuine smile, genuine happiness, knowing that they have less, they're going through problems, they're lacking money, they're lacking physical health, but they feel complete. And these people giving us example how to overcome the obstacles. I feel sometimes ashamed when I complain, because in Spiritism we have the opportunity to see many people, talking to people after the meeting. Usually we have the fraternal meetings, and sometimes we talk to people in that little room. And of course they have like big problems, they have struggles, they have many difficulties. But many of them, they don't lack on faith. And they simply see there is a solution. What I am sharing with you, Marcelo, it's not for you to solve my problems, because they know we cannot solve their problems. We are the only one able to solve our problems. But they simply want to share. And sometimes sharing their example with us, they think we are helping them, but they are helping us. Because helping others, we see how big is their problems, and our problems, our struggle, simply become this big. This big. And I feel ashamed. Why I complain so many times. So many times. There's also another component when we use drugs. There's the component of spiritual attachment, lower spirits attaching to us, because since we are a vibratory field of thoughts, of emotion, of not only flesh and blood, but we are their incarnate spirits, a vibratory field. In whatever we emanate, whatever we think and we wishes attract others with the same level of affinity. That's why good people attract good people. Believe this. And it says like, oh my God, but I am good. But do we really are good? Or maybe we are attracting to help them, to solve their problems, to help them, not to solve their problems, to help them to find solutions to help their problems. But good people indeed, real good people attract good people. Well, no, I'm not going to say this. It's going to be a joke. At the end of the lecture, when the mic is off, I'll tell you a joke. Interesting. So, saying that the influence that we can cause in this environmental, not only the physical one, but the spiritual environmental. We see one statement from the spirit Camilo, received by the medium Raul Teixeira, and he states, drugs and obsession. In the vast world of drug use, we will not find a single soul addicted to drugs who is not being affected by the toxic and vicious energies of enemies from the planet being by the means of affinity. One who wishes to take advantage of the unaware and unvigilant mind, directing them towards madness and even suicide. This is also another picture. It causes like a big impact. Understanding further. Sorry, I did like that. Not very well. Drugs and obsession. A scenario in the book Sex and Destiny, channeled by the medium Francisco Cândido Xavier, or Xavier. We see André Luiz, which is a spirit, bringing a scenario that a man is drinking heavily. I'm putting here drinking, but could be using drugs. With him, two discarnate entities forming a perfect symbiosis, inviting him to drink more and more. Is he a victim of obsession? And the answer is, he merely hosted the discarnate and willingly accepted his guidance. There was no symbiosis in which he was the victim. There was only implicit association and natural mixing. This is what André Luiz is stating. On Genesis, according to Spiritism, we will understand that when the spirit must incarnate in a human body that is about to be formed, a fluidic tie, which is nothing but an extension of its spirit, connects it to the zygote, to which it is attracted by an irresistible force from the moment of conception. As the fetus develops, the perispirit, which possesses certain properties of matter, is united molecule by molecule to the body that is forming. So what does it mean? Our spiritual body, it's so connected with our physical body. Everything that we do physically reacts, has this resonance in the spiritual body. And once the spiritual body is affected, even though we have a cleaning process on the physical, the matrix still resides in the spiritual. What does it mean? It means that if we don't change as the mental and psychological point of view, the spiritual component of the human being still gonna have the matrix and the archives of that kind of behavior, could triggering in the future some kind of problematic cirrhosis, some kind of liver damage. And even though the person did not develop anything in this lifetime, we see in many cases childs, young boys with cirrhosis problems in their early ages and with no genetic connection whatsoever. How could it be? Sometimes the Spirit brings to pay their debts. I don't like the word pay. The reaction of an action that took place sometimes in a lifetime could be triggered in another lifetime. And we see in the early ages of infancy a child manifesting problems with their liver or some consequences due to their behavior in the previous life. And we usually say, God is unjust. God is supremely infinite, good and just. He doesn't want us to suffer. We are the one that caused the suffering for our lives. But we forget that life goes on. And we don't have only this lifetime. We can manifest the consequences of our actions in many other lifetimes ahead. And this is so important. The knowledge of Spiritism, the knowledge of reincarnation brings us a new whole perspective that the life is a whole. Many lives, and we can see the consequences in the future. What happened when we drink, excessive or not, continuously or socially? We have the alcohol enters the system. This is an example of alcohol, could be other drugs. Affecting circulatory system, goes into the blood, nervous systems, respiratory system, goes into the brain, cells and neurons. On the book Missionaries of the Light, we will see that the perispiritual body, which gives form to the cellular elements, is strongly rooted in the blood. We see that the spiritual body is connected to the physical body, molecule by molecule, as is stated in the Genesis according to Spiritism, as we saw in the previous slide. So everything that goes to the blood, since the perispirit elements are very rooted into the blood, and not only to the blood, but the whole physical body, everything that we receives in the blood system will react and will have a resonance in the spiritual realm of life. This is simply an explanation of what we just explained a minute ago. Effects of substance abuse, excessive alcohol or the drug intake in the terms of perispirit. Heavy drinking liberates toxins that saturates the perispirit, introducing ill fluids. Incarnate spirit is often unable to associate any spiritual assistance. This could trigger obsession. What it means, because we have the intake of some kind of drugs, we simply got a little numb, if I can use this word. The good spirits are always trying to influence us, to give us good advice. But because we are so numb, we are simply unable to see them, to perceive them, to receive the good intuitions, giving us an open door to other spirits with the same vibratory level that we are in at that specific moment, simply establishing the symbiosis among the incarnate spirit and the discarnate one with the same vibratory level. And the high order spirits cannot go through, trying to advise us, please stop. Now it's time to stop, so we can have access to you. See, I'm playing a role like a mentor spirit. But this is actually what happens. actually, this is what happens. So somebody trying to advise us, and we simply, I don't want to hear. This is simply how it exactly, I'm not saying someone that likes to drink like a glass of wine. Of course, I'm not being radical. This is very important. To enjoy a good wine or something, but be very moderate, very cautious about this. I'm trying to say what is the excessive alcohol problems can trigger. Dependence follows semi-material body after death. We explained that. Physical lesions caused by excessive drinking, drug usage will be reflected in the perispirit. We're going to have all these information archived in our perispirit that could trigger in the future, far or very close future, some kind of problems. Could trigger. I'm not saying this is something that absolutely it's going to happen. The perispirit will mold the future physical body of incarnating spirit. With these lesions, predisposition to an infinite number of illness in accordance with spirit's rehabilitation need. I'm going faster because I see the watch. So lesions on the perispirit. Andrea helped me to do all these Star Wars technical drugs or excessive alcohol intake is lethal to the perispirit, which creates deleterious black matter causing damage to the physical and perispiritual cells, both intimately connected, as we mentioned before. These lesions caused by our own carelessness will reflect in the regions damaged and affect the formation of our physical body in future incarnations, as we mentioned before. I'm just repeating what I mentioned before. There's something else on the missionaries of the life, that our physical body seems as a divine inheritance. I also mentioned this before. As you can see, when we are reborn, we receive a sacred inheritance with the body, which we need to preserve by perfecting it. If we have been offered this vessel of service for new elevating experiences, we need to give back through our efforts and labor and education involving the body. And the mentor, the Spirit Alexander, in the book Missionaries of the Light, states to André Luiz, this all happens in the spirit realm. They're like simply teaching one another and observing certain situations in terms of what is the importance of the physical body. In the future, humankind will understand that its cells are not only bits of flesh, but companions in evolution, deserving of recognition and effective assistance. So we are a spiritual condominium with trillions of cells. And since we receive this body, we have to learn how to take care of it. Because this physical temple, and whatever we do with this physical temple, round and beautiful, just like my belly, we're going to have to you don't help anyone, you know. To be accountable, to be with this physical vessel that we receive. So everything that we inherit from the divine, from the God, the Almighty, we are going to be accountable for this. So let's pay attention. If we need help, because in the beginning I said that I don't have the intention, I'm not pretentious to give you like all the informations over here. This is a vast and broadened subject, and we know there are people here that maybe go through struggles, try the alcohol problems, the drug problems, and I'm not saying that this is incurable. We are more fragile than mean, as Paul of Tarsus stated. We all have struggles, and we are talking about these physical problems, but we also have the moral vices that sometimes are worse. People that like to gossiping, denigrate others, wants to destroy lives. They, at this exterior point of view, they don't drink, they don't use drugs. They're simply role models, human beings. And sometimes we applaud. But deep inside, what they have and what they carry inside of their hearts, moral vices, they are worse than any drugs. So that's why no one over here and in the whole humanity could point a finger to anyone, because we are all desperate, in need of assistance, needing love from each other. That's why cast the first stone, whoever doesn't have a sin, as Jesus mentioned 2,000 years ago. No one here could point a finger. We have to help one another so we can overcome all the obstacles. So I put this slide here. For someone you know needs help, speak up and seek assistance to get started on the road to recovery and happiness. Recognize the need for assistance. Be willing and march towards that help. I put spiritual centers, but it could be a church, it could be a temple, it could be a mosque, it could be many places. And look for psychologists, look for psychiatrists, look for doctors, clinics, because the treatment has to be combined. Speak up, ask for help. Asking for help is already a sign that we want to overcome the problem. Even though it's complicated and it's difficult, we together can help solutions for the human being, for the human creature. And to finish, 2 messages for the immortal spirit. Jesus continues being the great psychotherapist. With a profound understanding of the psyche, Jesus confidently probed the innermost recesses of the individual and discovered the real causes of the affliction that the unconscious way trying to hide. That's the statement that I just read. And to finish, come to me, this is what he said. All of you who are weary and carry heavy burdens, and I will give you rest. We desperately, we put we because I'm including myself. We desperately need an uncrucified Jesus, a companion and therapist offering urgent assistance to keep us from going over and over the edge. We are coming to the end, and if you have any questions, we can share. If I don't know the answer, I'll write it down and I'll look for the answers so we can share in the future.
Poor eating habits are as bad for the paraspirit as drinking and drugs. In fact, excessive eating, meat eating, red meat, is horrible for the paraspirit.
I try to extract this since I'm a little round, but you're absolutely right. I like to eat, but you're right. You're right. Yeah. Just
Yeah, going a little bit further, like drugs and alcohol is an addiction. But addiction also can be manifested not only by substance, which is what we talked about, but by activity and by person. Okay, so there are 3 other areas in which you can manifest this malady. I myself, and I'm breaking my own anonymity, okay, I'm a drug addict. Okay, I'm an alcoholic. And I say I am because my condition is only arrested. It can never be cured. be cured. And it's a big issue because it's a behavior that you exhibit that you do have and you hate having. And you don't want to do it.
Right.
So it's really, really difficult. And Carl Jung, which is in the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous, okay, did say that the answer to this condition was as a spiritual awakening.
See?
And Bill W., who is the founder of AA, they said only a spiritual awareness and awakening is the answer to addiction.
What's your name again?
My name is Francisco Barco.
Francisco. So he is giving us a testimony of strength, of courage, because he knows the problematic. He's sharing with us. We saw last Tuesday, it was last Tuesday, I guess, Carla Tavares sharing with us here the problem that he had with her parents, her father. And we all got emotional. It was recorded. I'm not saying anything that was not shared here in the beginning. And thanks for sharing. Thanks for sharing. You are absolutely right. You're absolutely right.
And we usually say that we can only keep it, what we have, by giving it away. That's the reason for my sharing in this spiritual sense.
How long you been sober?
Wow, 28 years.
28 years?
I have to remind myself that it's not 28 years, it's a day at a time.
See?
It's just one day. Wow.
Francisco is giving us an important testimony, because not only for alcohol, as I mentioned before, we have many vices, and it's one day after time, one day after another, how we examine ourselves. That's why St. Augustine states on the question 919 of the Spirit's book, know thyself. Actually, it was Allan Kardec asking, what is the practical way to, because he wants something practical. I don't want anything philosophical. What is the practical way to become a better person? And the answer was given by the Spirit St. Augustine. Know thyself, said a sage in antiquity. So, knowing thyself, knowing ourselves, examining, this is my frailty. If I have a problem of, for example, gambling, I'm not going to go into the casino. No, I'm going to test myself. Try to create like some kind of like mechanisms. I'm not going to be exposed to something that I don't have the power to control myself. For example, if I have the vice, the problem of gossiping, when we see someone in a group like gossiping, blah, 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 Andrea, Marcelo, blah, 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 gossiping, like, what I'm going to do? I'm going to dive in? No, I'm going to say, no, I'm going to be participating in this, denigrating people's character. We're simply going to go like, create one day at a time, trying to keep with the prayer, high level of vibration, so we can get in tune with the high order spirits. Because since we are in this world of trial of expiations, in this transitional world, we are exposed to a vast range of vibrations, all kinds of vibrations. And we know when we go through a spirit realm, we are not like angels with wings. We simply keep the characteristics of our character. So that's why, what is our deed? Where is our patrimony, our asset, the real asset, since coffee doesn't have drawers? What we have inside, what we are trying to build inside of our spirit. This is what we are going to carry and cross eternity with our own immortality. Yes.
In honor to my friend here, also, I can share. I don't have a problem, but for example, I have problem with sleeping medication, and I started because I start working night shifts, and then since then you become reliant and you work on. So like he said, it's the day at a time, increase and decrease. But most of all, I did my self diving. I see the problem to me is to quieten my mind. So even though with all the inquiries and meditation resources, I still find it difficult frontal cortex, so it's anything that you're processing information cognitively. So I was interesting because last week I was talking to Ivan after Youth and Immortality, and we were debating on this root of this, right? And then I heard a talk that was very interesting that said, when we're young, we have this burst of hormones, so we're learning to deal with this chemistry inside of us, and we feel all the dopamine, everything is new. So you're experiencing everything new. So it's the highest peak of dopamine that you ever become aware of it, because that's when everything is new to you. But until being a teenager, everything is your parents. So your parents, they are your reference. But by starting to form it, to create your personality, you use your peers as reference. So when you're frustrated about trying to do something with all that energy, you turn into do something that is contradictory to what your parents want. Then you do something illegal for the first time, which would be alcohol the first, because it's accepted by society. You create in your subconscious, because you're not able to handle that yet, you throw that to your subconscious. And then every time in your life that you do something later is going to be associated with that. So alcohol will always come, it's buried underneath your subconscious. That anything that you do alternative to what your parents told you not to do, it's there. So that's when it goes back to know thyself. We better know that we're all struggling with overcoming this first primordial frustration, and the only way is to look inside.
Very nice.
As a collective conscious too.
Very nice. We are about to, because of the time, Maria Amélia can say something real quick.
What I'm
You're
going to say complements what you were saying. I read this week in the newspaper something about Island, that they are having the lower rates of teenagers experience alcohol and any other kind of drugs. So they have this study that's 20, 30 years, and they have, like 10 or 12 years ago, a program with those teenagers, with their parents and their peers, about socialization, spirituality, sports, a lot of sports. And through this program, and they're starting to have those programs also in some cities in Spain and other parts of Europe, and how they are having the lower rates ever of teenagers trying drugs or, this or illicit.
Very nice.
So, that is, I don't agree with you when you say I'm never going to be good. You are. You are very strong. Congratulations again. You too. We are doing, it's a path, all of us. We all are going to be pure spirits. Even Jean.
It's gonna take a while.
Friends. So we're gonna end now. Thank you very much for all the comments. I mentioned at the beginning that I dedicate this lecture to the mothers in both realms of life, but now I dedicate this lecture to Francisco. Thank you very much. Please.
Very good. We're going to call the little ones. Marcel used extensively the book Plenitude by Joanna de Angelis in addressing some of the things that he brought, but she develops further in talking about alcohol, drugs, and even sex as an addiction as well, which leads to madness and every kind of pornography and things that are also some of the addictions that we see in our society. Ricardo, will you turn the music on, please? We invite anyone who may be watching at home to follow us in this moment of prayer and passes. If you're connected to us, know in your heart that benevolent spirits are there with you, and that you are able to participate, engaging your own selves, spiritual and physical, to receive the blessings that we are going to be receiving here in this place of prayer as well. We ask our Master Jesus, psychotherapist of our souls, the benevolent spirits that are here to help us and assist us in rehabilitating ourselves, spiritual and physical, so that we may receive the well-being needed to continue the struggle sometimes and the courage at all times to overcome ourselves. Let us be in prayer and receptive, as if opening the pores of our perispirit for the abundance of energies that flow freely, not only from above, but also from the hands of the dedicated mediums who will be before us. For those who are coming for the first time, all you need to do is sit quietly, be open and receptive. The mediums will come to you. And we can begin. Let us begin. let us be thankful at this moment as we come to the end of our meeting. Being thankful for our Spiritist teachings that we have before us that allows a movement of strengthening the courage of faith. We study about this aspect in having the courage to be able to withstand, to be able to answer why and how is it that faith can help us in overcoming ourselves, in facing difficulties and challenges. It is because, as it was announced during today's study, we have above us a Father who is all love and justice, one who shows us through infinite signs in nature, or in a kindness, a moment of kindness that we encounter, of people who seek to do good at all times, that remain true to themselves even when there are countless opportunities to make mistakes, that shows us that goodness prevails in this world, that all we have to do is take a moment to look around us and seek in the signs that He sends us daily, that love truly is the most strong and powerful emotion in the entire universe. A creative force that is with us all inside our hearts, that it develops further as we ourselves progress spiritually, and that its source is found in the Creator Himself. And that's why we seek the strength at all times to cultivate this faith that provides us the courage needed to overcome all of our vices, whether they're physical, spiritual, or moral. We are so very thankful for the examples that we have of folks who have had the courage of faith to overcome themselves, as we have with our friend Paco and so many others, who are aware of the need to work on themselves, showing us that we need the very same courage to take a look within and see where we need to make an active effort to work through the difficulties and challenges, to have the courage to look at ourselves with love and compassion and understanding, as it was announced here, that we are all on the road to recovery. Recovery of the vices that have had us stopped in our trail, hindering our steps, unable to allow us to move forward. We are so very thankful for these live examples that we have beside us. And we look at around and see that we are all the same, children of the very same Father, where benevolent beings, missionaries of Christ, come daily, all the time to assist us should we wish to. And that there is a defining moment of willingness that we all come to in modifying, changing our lives. And that's the courage of faith that we talk about so much with Spiritism. We are so very thankful this morning because in this safe place, we are able to open our hearts to each other, to open our souls and our thoughts to the benevolent spirits who never judge, but rather inspire, encourage, and give us incentives to move forward. And on this note, we ask for your blessings for all of us here, discarnate alike, who are also seeking the courage to continue their own road to recovery, towards happiness, to the destination of perfection that awaits each and single one of us. Thank you so much, Father, for sending us Jesus, our psychotherapist, the benevolent spirits that are here with us, and our mentor, our guide. Thank you for this place that receives us week after week, the friends we have made at the Spiritist Center. Thank you so much for providing us with a reincarnation that is promising, that is destined to make us progress and evolve, and that all it counts on is on our own effort and willingness to evolve and to learn. We ask for your blessings for those who couldn't be here this morning, and for those who are following along with us at home. Thank you so much, and so be it. Just a few announcements before I let all of you go. First of all, thank you all for being here this morning. It is great to see our center growing, our family growing, if you will. We just wanted to point out this event right here, that we have the gift of life, where topics such as suicide, abortion, immortality, reincarnation are going to be delivered by top-notch speakers, Divaldo Pereira Franco, Alberto Almeida, who's a transpersonal psychologist, Sergio Lopes, who's a psychiatrist and will be with us for the very first time ever in the United States, and also Haroldo Dutra Dias, who's going to bring us the topics as he does with the gospel and immortality and the importance of day-to-day living, knowing about this immortality and this reality. We are more than halfway sold, meaning there are less than 150 tickets left. We're talking about less because we have people that are reserving on the side, which doesn't show the numbers in the system. So we encourage you to hurry up, because this is when the tickets really start selling fast. $65 for both days, $35 for each day. Lunch is $15. We highly recommend ordering your lunch. The deadline is next week, February 26th. It's not a lunchbox, it's not sandwiches. It's chicken, tofu, grilled portobello mushrooms, salads, soups, flan, pudding, and bonbons. All really great stuff that are going to be made by our own Brazilian caterer, Eliane Alves. She's going to be doing this for us, and we're going to have the Gift of Life luncheon, so we invite you to participate. Lunch is only going to be an hour and a half, so consider the time you have from leaving the space, going out, buying lunch, and coming back, because we are very good on time. We begin on time. The second thing is the reincarnation logic behind divine justice. This event is entirely in Portuguese with simultaneous translation into English and Spanish. That one is all in English. It is the event promoted by the United States Spiritist Federation. Workshops, there are going to be talks, there is going to be a roundtable, and speakers from the United States, so people who are fluent in the language who are going to be delivering this. It's in Orlando, so it's only get a caravan, go together, 3.5 hours away. You can request assistance if you need a place to stay. Perhaps we can find people who will accommodate you in their own home. We also need donations for our own Spiritist Center. We have come to the realization that we have almost, between Sunday and Tuesday, almost 130 people participating, but we have less than 20 people who are contributing financially. We are not asking for much. If you could do $1, $5, 10, 20, 50, 100 monthly, a contribution that we can count on via PayPal, you can do it by check, but something that would say, I'm committed to keep the Spiritist Center going, and we know that when the first of the month came around, we can count on Jean's $50 monthly. It's really good. Thanks, Jean, for that contribution that you're giving us. Just kidding. Anything else I'm missing?
What date is that?
This one here is on May 6th. It's a Saturday, all day. It's a one-day event, May 6th. It usually begins at 9 a.m. It goes until about 5. So, in our event here at FIU, we have the full program on the website. If you want to register, look at the website down here below.
Where is that?
At the Florida International University's campus north, at the Collins Conference Center, so 151st Street.
Can you still go and sign in for the lunch if you didn't? Because now
Yes.
you say there's Porto Battle, now I want.
Yeah, we've sent a separate link for those who have registered already. There's a separate link for you to buy lunch that has been sent, but it's also on the Facebook page for the Spiritist Federation. I'll tag you on it on Facebook so you can buy it. Anybody else who cannot find it, let me know and I'll send it to you so that you can buy the lunch. Also, volunteers for the area in reception.
How can we?
Okay, we are needing mostly right now volunteers for the reception area. Volunteers do need to register because volunteers participate during the talk. So if you've registered and you have a desire to assist us, let us know. We now have 2 new folks that are going to be joining us, and if you want to participate as well, please give us your full name, email address, and phone number. So that we can get that going. You're going to be receiving an email. Anybody who's registering, we have a meeting the Friday before the event on the 10th from 6:30 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. and we encourage you to come so that you know what to do during the event. Any other questions? Oh yeah, don't forget the water that is out there for the classes. Have a great week.